A jury's decision hangs in the balance as they consider the fate of Sandwich Guy, a man who became an unlikely hero in Washington, D.C. after a seemingly mundane act of defiance. Sean Dunn, a former paralegal, found himself in the spotlight when he defied federal authority by tossing a subway footlong at a federal officer, all in the name of standing up against President Trump's policies. But here's where it gets intriguing. The jury must decide whether this act of rebellion warrants a misdemeanor charge. The incident unfolded during a heated time in D.C., with the Trump administration's executive order placing federal law enforcement on the streets, sparking strong emotions among those who felt it encroached on their rights. Dunn, a passionate advocate for immigration reform, channeled his feelings into a bold statement. He confronted officers at 14th and U Street Northwest, a nightlife hub, and in a moment of defiance, he launched a salami sub at a federal officer's ballistic vest. It was a symbolic act, a way to express his disapproval of the Trump administration's approach to immigration enforcement. The defense team, led by Sabrina Shroff, presented a compelling argument. She emphasized that the incident was about more than just a sandwich. It was about Dunn's deeply held beliefs and the broader context of Trump's executive orders. Shroff questioned the officer's testimony, pointing out that the sandwich was still in its wrapper on the ground after hitting the officer, suggesting it didn't cause any significant harm. She argued that a sandwich, no matter how forcefully thrown, cannot be considered a weapon, and a bulletproof vest would have protected the officer from any potential injury. Shroff also highlighted the light-hearted nature of the incident, noting that the officer and his colleagues found the situation amusing. She compared it to a child's temper tantrum, suggesting that the reaction was disproportionate to the action. The defense team aimed to evoke a sense of empathy and understanding from the jury, urging them to consider the broader implications of the executive orders and the impact on the community. However, the prosecution countered that this case was not about dissent or opposition to government actions. They argued that Dunn's actions were a clear violation of the law and that he should not be given a free pass. Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael C. DiLorenzo emphasized that the act of throwing a sandwich, no matter how seemingly harmless, was a deliberate and potentially dangerous action. The prosecution's stance was clear. Dunn's actions were not a mere expression of opinion, but a criminal act that required accountability. As the jury deliberates, the fate of Sandwich Guy hangs in the balance. This case has sparked a debate about the boundaries of free speech and the limits of civil disobedience. Will the jury see it as a heroic act of resistance or a criminal offense? The answer will shape the future of Dunn's life and send a message about the limits of dissent in a society governed by the rule of law.